Shabbat Shalom. We'll be getting started on page 10 with Yedid Nefesh. Shabbat Shalom. Yes. Shabbat Shalom. We'll get started here on page 10 with Yedid Nefesh. I'll welcome everybody in. And there should be copies of the Siddur in front of everyone. Very good. Page 10, Yedid Nefesh. Yedid Nefesh avarachaman mishoch avdach eretzonach yarutz avdach kmo ayal yishtachave mul hadarach Ki yerav lo yedidutach minofetzu fechol ta'am hadur na'e ziv ha'olam nafshi cholat ahavatach ana el narefana lah Beharot lach noam zivach As titchazek v'titrapei V'hayeta lach shivchat olam V'tik yehemu rachamecha V'chusna al bein ohavach Ki ze kama nichsof nichsaf Lirob tiferet uzach Ana eli machmad libi Chushana ve'al tit'alam Higalena ufros chaviv alai Et sukat shelomach Ta'ir eretz mikvodach Nagila v'nismecha bach Mahir ahuv kiva moed V'choneini ki me'olam Psalm 95, the Chunarana, page 11 and 12. We'll sing the beginning together and the end together. Lechuneranena ladonai naria letsur yisheinu nekadma fanav betoda bizmirot naria lo nekadma fanav betoda bizmirot naria lo 40 שנה אקוט בדור ואומרם תועי לבב הם והם לא ידעו דרכי אשר נשבעתי ואפי אם יבואון אל מנוחתי. Page 13, Psalm 96. We'll sing this one together. שירו לאדוני שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני כל הארץ, שירו לאדוני ברכו שמו, בסרו מיום ליום ישועתו, ספרו בגויים כבודו, בכל העמים נפלאותיו, כי גדול אדוני ומהולל מאוד, נורא הוא על כל אלוהים, די, כי כל אלוהי העמים אלילים, ואדוני שמיים עשה, הוד והדר לפניו, עוז ותפארת במקדשו, הבו לאדוני משפחות עמים, הבו לאדוני כבוד ועוז, הבו לאדוני כבוד שמו, שאו מנחה ובאו לחצרותיו, די, השתחוו לאדוני בהדרת קודש, חילו מפניו כל הארץ, אמרו בגויים אדוני מלך, אף תיכון תבל בל תימות, ידין עמים במישרים, ישמחו השמיים ותגל הארץ, ירם הים ומלואו, יעלו שדי וכל אשר בו, די, אז ירננו כל עצי יער לפני אדוני, כי בא לשפוט הארץ, ישפוט תבל בצדק ועמים באמונתו, די, Let's see, I'll invite someone. Carol, would you come forward and help us lead? Help to lead this psalm. We're on pages 15 and 16. Let's see, does that work? Well, it looks like that might not work. Let's see, does that work? It does work. Okay.
Okay, responsibly?
Responsibly.
Yes. Adonai reigns, let the earth be glad, the many distant lands rejoice.
Clouds and thick darkness surround the divine. Righteousness and justice secure God's throne. Fire goes before God, consuming besiegers round about.
Flashes of lightning illumine the land. The earth watches and trembles. The mountains melt like wax at the approach of Adonai, at the approach of the Master of all the earth.
The heavens tell of God's righteousness, and all the nations see God's glory.
Worshippers of idols be shamed for praising false gods. All that is deemed supreme bow before God.
Zion hears of it and rejoices. The cities of Judah exult as you, Adonai, pass judgment.
You, Adonai, are above all that is earthly, exalted over all that is worshipped as divine.
Those who love Adonai hate evil. God protects the lives of the faithful, saving them from the hands of the sinful.
Light is sown for the righteous and joy for the upright. Rejoice in Adonai, you righteous people, and thank God as you pronounce the divine holy name.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Pages 17 and 18 we'll read individually. Mizmor shiru l'Adonai shir chadash, ki niflo rasa hoshia lo yamino uzra kodsho. לפני אדוני קיווה לשפוט הארץ, ישפוט תבל בצדק ועמים במישרים. This one we will begin individually, but we'll conclude together at Romamu and sing that on page 20. So we start on page 19 individually. Adonai malach yirgazu amim, yoshev keruvim tanut haaretz. Adonai tzmitzion. Moshe v'Aaron. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lehar kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lehar kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lehar kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lehar kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu. Page 21, Mizmor LeDavid. Mizmor LeDavid, havu l'Adonai b'nei Elim, havu l'Adonai kavod va'oz, havu l'Adonai kavod shemo, ishtachavu l'Adonai b'hadrat kodesh, kol Adonai al hamayim, el hakavod hirim, Adonai al mayim rabim, kol Adonai ba'koach, kol Adonai behadar, kol Adonai shover arazim, vayishaber Adonai et arzei halvanon, vayarkidem kmo egel Levanon, ve'siryon kmo ven re'emim. Kol Adonai chotzev lahavot eish, kol Adonai yachil midbar, yachil Adonai midbar kadesh, kol Adonai yacholel ayalot, vayechesof ye'arot, uvehechalo kulo omer kavod, kulo omer kavod. Adonai lamabul yashav, vayeshev Adonai melech leolam, Adonai oz le'amo yitein, Adonai yevarech et amo v'shalom. We'll turn now to Lecha Dodi, page 23. Lecha Dodi, and I am thinking that perhaps we're having trouble with the T-coil tonight. Is that accurate? Okay. All right. So we'll have to see what we can figure out about that. All right. Lecha Dodi, page 23. Lecha Dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad hishmiyanu, el hamiyuchad Adonai echad u'shemo echad l'shem l'tiferet v'lithilah. Lecha Dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nei lecha ki makor, haberacha merosh mikedem nesucha, sof ma'aseh b'machshavat chila. Lecha Dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela. Mikdash melech Ir melucha kumitzeim mitoch ha'afecha rav lach shevet ve'emek habacha v'hu yachamol alayich chemla. Lecha Dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela. Hitna arim me'afar kumi livshi bigdei, Tif'artecha mi al yad ben Yishai beit halachmi, korva el nafshi ge'ala. Lecha Dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela. Hitoreri, kiva orech, kumi ori, uri, shir daberi, kvod Adonai, alaich nigla. Lecha dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela, lo tevoshi velo tikalmi matish tochachi, umatemi bach yechesu aniyei ami venivneta, iralti la lecha dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela, v'hayu limshisa shosaich v'rachaku kol mevalaich, yasis alaich Elohaich kimsos chatan al kala lecha dodi likrat kala. Pnei Shabbat nekabela, Yamin usmol tifrotzi ve'et Adonai ta'aritzi al yad ish ben partzi v'nismecha v'nagila lecha dodi likrat kala. Pnei Shabbat nekabela, Boi v'shalom ateret ba'ala gam besimcha, uvetzala toch emunei am segula, Boi chala lecha dodi likrat kala. Pnei Shabbat nekabela. We are seated, and we'll continue on page 27. Let's read responsively on page 27 in the English. It is good to thank you, Adonai, a psalm, the song of the day of Shabbat. It is good to thank you, Adonai, and sing to your name most high, to proclaim your love at daybreak, your faithfulness each night. You gladdened me with your deeds, Adonai, and I shall sing of your handiwork. The arrogant do not understand. The fool does not comprehend this. The wicked flourish like grass, and every evildoer blossoms, only to be destroyed forever. Surely your enemies, Adonai, surely your enemies will perish. All who commit evil will be scattered. As my enemies gather against me, my gaze remains steady, for my ears listen and hear. In old age they remain fruitful, still fresh and bountiful, proclaiming Adonai is upright, my rock in whom there is no flaw. Page 29, we'll read Psalm 93 individually. We'll sing the end together. Adonai malach keud lavesh Adonai osvin. Mikolot mayim rabim Adirim mishpereyam, Mikolot mayim rabim, Adirim mishpereyam, Adir bamarom Adonai, Adir bamarom Adonai, Adir bamarom Adonai, Adir bamarom Adonai. Eidotecha nemnu me'od leveitcha nava kodesh Adonai le'orech yamim. Page 30, we continue with Kaddish Yatom Mourner's Kaddish. If anyone here is saying Kaddish tonight, I'll invite you to please join me. Page 30. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shmei Rabbah. Ba'alama divra kirutei be'amlich malchutei b'chayei chon u'vyomei chon u'chayei dechol beit Yisrael ba'agala u'bizman kariv ve'imru amen. Yahei shmei Rabbah mevarach la'alam u'lalamei alamaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnasei v'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shmei dekudsha b'richu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechamata da'amiran ba'alama ve'imru amen. Yahei shalama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen. Osei shalom b'imromav hu ya'asei shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen. Our service continues with Baruch Hu as we begin our Ma'arif service together on page 39. We're on page 39A. I'll invite you to please rise. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. You may be seated. Please read with me in the English on page 39. Baruch atah Adonai, our God, sovereign of time and space, whose word brings the evening dusk, whose wisdom opens the gates of dawn, whose understanding changes the day's division, whose will sets the succession of seasons and arranges the stars in their places in the sky, who creates day and night, who rolls light before darkness and darkness from light, who makes day pass into night, who distinguishes day from night. Adonai Tzvaot is your name. Living and ever-present God, may your rule be with us forever and ever. Baruch atah Adonai, who brings each evening's dusk. Page 40. Ahavat olam Beit Yisrael Amacha ahavta Torah u'mitzvot Chukim u'mishpatim Otanu limadata Al kein Adonai Eloheinu B'shochveinu u'v'kumeinu Nasiach b'chukecha V'nismach b'divrei Toratecha ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד. כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו ואורך ימינו, ובהם נגע יומם ולילה, יומם ולילה. ואהבתך תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל. שמע ישראל אדוני אלוהינו אדוני אחד. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. והיה שלום. Vayomer Adonai el Moshe lemor. Adonai Elohechem emet. Ve'emunah goes over kayam aleinu. Page 44. U'malchuto beratzon kiblu alehem Moshe u'Miriam u'bnei Yisrael lecha anu shira b'simcha rabba ve'amru chulam mi chamocha Ba'elim Adonai mi kamocha Nedar ba'kodesh Nora tehilot osef ele Yadai ladai ladai Yadai ladai Yadai ladai ladai Yadai ladai ladai Malchutecha Ra'u vanecha bokei hayam lifnei Moshe ze eli anu ve'amru Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed Yadai ladai ladai Yadai ladai v'ne'emar kifada Adonai et Yaakov u'galo Miyad chazak mimenu Baruch ata Adonai Gal Yisrael. Page 45, we'll read in English Hashkivenu, the translation here on page 45 on the left side. Allow us, Adonai, our God, to sleep peacefully. Awaken us to life, O Sovereign. Spread over us your canopy of peace. Restore us with your good counsel, and save us for the sake of your name. Shield us. Remove from us enemies, pestilence, sword, starvation, and sorrow. Remove the evil forces that surround us. Shelter us in the shadow of your wings, for you, God, watch over and deliver us, and you, God, are sovereign, merciful, and compassionate. Ensure our going and coming for life and peace, now and forever. May you spread over us your canopy of peace, Baruch ata Adonai, who spreads the canopy of peace over us, over all the people of Israel, and over Jerusalem. We rise on page 46. V'shameru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat La'asot et ha-Shabbat L'dorotam berit olam Beini uven b'nei Yisrael oti le'olam Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et ha-shamayim ve'et ha'aretz uvayom ha-shvi'i shavat vayinafash Yitkadal v'yitkadash me'rabah ve'alma divra kirutei v'yamlich malchutei B'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei l'chol beit Yisrael Bagala u'v'izman kariv V'imru Amen Yehei Shemei Rabba mevarach Le'alam me'alamaya Yitbarach v'yishtabach V'yitpa'ar v'yitroman v'yitnasei V'yithadar v'yit'ale v'yithalal Shemei d'kudisha b'richu Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata Tushbechata v'nechemata Damiran ba'alma V'imru Amen. Silent Amidah begins on page 47. Don't forget the insertion for Rosh Chodesh in the Retzei blessing. Baruch. Elohim. I'll invite you to please rise on page 53 for the symbolic recapitulation of the Amidah. ויחולו השמיים והארץ וכל צבאם ויחל אלוהים ביום השביעי מלאכתו אשר עשה וישפוט ביום השביעי מכל מלאכתו אשר עשה ויברך אלוהים את יום השביעי ויקדש אותו כי בו שבה מכל מלאכתו אשר ברא אלוהים לעשות. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו אלוהי אברהם אלוהי יצחק ואלוהי יעקב אלוהי שרה אלוהי רבקה אלוהי רחל ואלוהי לאה האל הגדול הגיבור והנורא אל עליון קונה שמיים וארץ Magen Avot Bidvaro, Mechaye Metim B'mamaro, Ha'el HaKadosh She'en Kamohu, Ameniach Le'amo, B'yom Shabbat Kodsho, Kivam Ratza Le'aniach Lahem, Kivam Ratza Le'aniach Lahem, לפניו נעבוד ביראה ופחד, ונודה לשמו בכל יום תמיד, מעון הברכות. אל ההודעות אדון השלום, מקדש השבת ומברך שביעי, ומניח בקדושה לעמדו שני עונג, זכר למעשה בראשית. אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו, רצה במנוחתנו, קדשנו במצוותיך, ותן חלקנו בתורתך, שבענו מטובך, ושמחנו בישועתך, וטהר ליבנו לעבדך באמת, והנחילנו אדוני אלוהינו, באהבה וברצון שבת קודשך, וינוחו בישראל מקדשי שמך. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת. יתגדל ויתקדש מרבה, בעלמא דברי קירותיך, וימליך מלכותך בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי כל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב אמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך, לעלם ולעלמי עלמיה, יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי לקודשה, בריחו לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דאמירן בעלמה ואמרו אמן. תתקבל סרטון וברון לכל ישראל, קודם אבוהון דבי שמיה ואמרו אמן. יהי שלום הרבה מן שמיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. יעשה שלום, הוא יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. ואמרו amen. We remain standing for Kiddush, page 55. Savri. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddishanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon inchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit ki hu yom techila lemikrai kodesh zecher letziat mitzrayim. Kivanu v'acharta ve'otanu kiddashta mikol ha'amim ve'shabbat kodshecha ve'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh ha'shabbat. Supposed to have half of it. I was expecting something a little weaker. Page 56. Aleinu l'shabeach la'adon hakol, la'atet gedula yotzer bereshit, shelo asanu kigoyei ha'aratzot, velo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינת עוזו בגובי מרומים. הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום והשבות אל לבבך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת אין עוד. על כן נקווה לכם. ככתוב בתורתך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. ושמו אחד. We will turn now to Kaddish Yatom, the Mourner's Kaddish, on page 58. As we do, I want to note that today, this Shabbat, we are observing the Yortzites of Pearl Green and of Maurice A. Molko, father of Grace Lehrer, who's with us tonight. In addition, over the coming week, we will also observe the Yortzites of Ronnie Engelman, Leon J. Rack, Aladar Berger, Abe Amster, I. Leonard Bernstein, I said Leonard, so I said Bernstein, but Bernstein, Lena Karp Aaron, Eudice Lorge, Nathan Mandel, Jonas J. Zucker, Dr. Erwin Kaplan, Jenny Goodman, Joseph Apfelbaum, Max Schoen, Albert I. Edlin, Steve Blyer, and Nelson Weiss. We think as well at this time of those we've lost in the last year, among them Ron Kabikoff, Dan Geyer, Charles Albright, Bernie Slavitt, Elaine Beagleson, Frank Grossman, George Fisher, Selma Cohn, Lori Gupp, Ben Koff, Matt Yosefat, Peter Gabor, Sandy Richards, Kay Gaines, Joel Chenin, Irv Zipperstein, Elaine Nevins, and Joan Dane. If there's anyone else you are remembering tonight and you'd like to mention by name, I'll invite you to do so. Again, Mourner's Kaddish is on page 58. If you're reciting, whether you're with us here in person or with us on the stream, I'll invite you to join me at this time. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shmei Rabbah. Ba'alama divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei b'chayei chon v'yomei chon u'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael ba'agala u'bizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach la'alam u'lalamei alamaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnasei v'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shmei t'kudsha b'richu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechamata da'amiran ba'alama v'imru amen. Yehei shalama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. We'll say shalom b'imromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Shabbat Shalom. Announcements. We have a few announcements to share. Let's see. First of all, as I sent in an email which went out at exactly 12 o'clock last night or this morning, we're very glad to note some generous giving that happened over Purim. There are additional opportunities for giving, as I noted with the Passover Delivery Project. I will also note that is coming up very, very soon. It's actually this Sunday is when they are doing their delivery from JFS. So if you want to be a part of that, we can put you in touch with Liz Vogel or someone at JFS. Tomorrow night, immediately after Havdalah, they do have, I think they said, one more delivery spot available. They were looking for one more volunteer as of this morning. But we can connect you with that if that is something you're interested in. If there is anybody who is in need of help for Passover, support for Passover in any way, whether it's getting a hold of matzah or anything else, please let me know, and I'll make the appropriate connections. Apart from that, I also noted we have a Passover, our yearly Hamates sale form, now available. If you plan to sell your Hamates, please, through me, please fill that out and get that to me the Wednesday before Passover. So you've got just under 2 weeks. Is that right? Just under 2 weeks. Just under 2 weeks. So do let me know. Apart from that, the other thing I noted in that email is that we have a speaker tonight, and Herb will be speaking in just a few moments about Jews and baseball, and I look forward to that presentation. There are a number of initiatives and quick things that have been organized that are coming up that are almost upon us, that, in fact, in one case, we had our planning meeting for it this morning. So there is going to be a special event for relief and aid for Ukraine, for refugees, organized through ISH, our local arts partners, and the Federation. And we will something that we are actually hosting here at Northern Hills on April 10th, on the afternoon of April 10th. So from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m., that will be going on. We've got a musician. We'll be making a special appeal to the Russian-speaking population, the Russian-speaking Jewish population, which apparently we've got a fairly good concentration of those folks in our immediate area, immediate environs up here in the north. We've got a musician, we've got some dancing, and some other things. They, I think, are bringing some bake sale items, but as close as that is to Pesach, we said, can you please keep them outside? And they said, okay, we can keep them outside. So they'll keep them out in the parking lot. We want to make sure that doesn't make its way inside. So, but that's all. Everything should be taking place outside. Look for a few more details on that as it comes up, because they just got us those details today, and we just put that together. Apart from that, Passover is almost here. We will be doing a little bit of cleaning here in house, including capturing our minion kitchen. So that's exciting. Yes, I'm very excited. I'm particularly excited for the part of kashering that involves sticking a plastic bag around the toasters and putting them somewhere else. But aside from that, if there's any last-minute Passover prep that you say, I really want to help the synagogue with, let me know. We could use it. And anything else going on this weekend? Yeah, okay. We've got an introduction to leading a Passover Seder that we're running mostly for folks who are maybe interested in Judaism or folks who've never hosted a Seder before. If you know any maybe young folks who fit into that category that we don't already have on our radar, send them our way. That's on Sunday afternoon at 2. And I think that's all the news that's fit to print. So that said, anniversaries. Do we have anyone here who is here for an anniversary this month? I know we have technically it's an April anniversary. I know you guys celebrated in the Jewish date already, but isn't the Jewish date is today? The Gregorian date was already passed. Okay, so any April anniversaries? No April anniversaries. I'm the only one. Okay, so Cassandra and I celebrate X many years. Mazel tov, happy anniversary. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'll get dizzy doing that too much. But in any case, to anyone out there in TV land, we wish you a happy anniversary as well. How many years has it been? If I do the math quickly, it's been, is that right, 16? Do I have 16 years? Is that right? Yeah, 16 years. Yes. So, it feels shorter. I'll say it feels shorter. I'm supposed to say it feels shorter, right? If I say it feels longer, it sounds terrible. So yes, it feels much shorter. Was it like 5 minutes ago, I think? I don't know. Where did these kids come from? I'm confused. So in any case, yes, thank you. And we're enjoying it. We are still, I think, still each other's favorite conversation partner, so that's always an important thing. We will conclude our service on page 62 with Yigdal. Let me see. Hang on. I know I can do this. There it is. It's gone. That's okay. Yigdal Elohim chai v'yishtabach nimtza v'ein el metziuto echad v'en yachid ki yichudo nelam v'gam en sof le'achduto en lo dmut haguf v'eino guf lo na'aroch elav kedushato kadmon l'chol davar asher nivra rishon v'ein reishit le'reishit Shito hino Adon Olam v'chol notzar Yoreg gdulato u'malchuto Shefan nevuato netano Elan shesgulato v'tifarto Lo kam b'Yisrael kemo she'od Navi u'mabit et tmunato Torat emet natan le'amo el Al yad nevio ne'eman beito Lo yachalif ha'el velo yamir dato le'olamim lezulato tzofe v'yodea zetareinu mabit lesof davar bekadmato gomel le'ish chesed kemifalo noten lerashara kirishato yishlach l'ket yamin meshichenu Lifdot machakeket Yeshuato metim yachayeil berochasdo Baruch hadei ad shem tehilato metim yachayeil berochasdo Baruch hadei ad shem tehilato. Right. I will now call Dr. Herb Brass forward. I get to use the title since you're presenting something. Though I believe this has almost nothing to do with your medical expertise. Nevertheless, I know this is a subject that's been of great interest to you, and I know I think one of the first things I learned about Herb when I got here was that he was a big baseball fan. So glad to have you, and happy to invite you forward. In the interest of Kvod Habriot, I am prepared to make a minor adjustment to the teak oil if I can. I'm going to see if I can while Herb is speaking and see if that makes it a little better for folks who are trying to hear. And I can't guarantee that I'll be able to do much. There's a limit for me in terms of my Shabbat observance about exactly how technical I'm prepared to get, but if I can get away with a minor tweak, I will. So go ahead and I'll see if we can get that there.
It's down. Okay, so everybody knows I'm interested in baseball, right? So actually, I'll give you a little personal... That better? Good, thank you. I'm going to give you some personal information along with the baseball. I grew up in Brooklyn at Ebbets Field. It was about 4 or 5 blocks away. And during the summer, when there's a home run hit and there was noise, you could hear it through the windows. And now the Dodgers was a great Dodger fan. They were called the Bums. I don't remember why, but they were called the Bums. And the Giants played until 1957, and they moved out to California, the Dodgers in Southern California and the Giants up north. And, you know, baseball has always been important for me. I always read the sports section, the newspaper, every day. And I still do it. Ray just hands it to me every morning. And where we lived, it's kind of a tenement-type area. It was just all it's on Montgomery Street, and it was all just buildings. Instead of one, there were 2 trees that grew in Brooklyn. you had one, yeah. And so, you know, basically, you know, you listen to, you go out on the sidewalk and people had their radios going and all of that, and during the ball game, they had the ball games going, and it was, you know, it was nice, and it was mostly men sitting outside. The ladies did not go listen to baseball games at that time, and so I got acclimated into baseball in the 1949 World Series. Why? Had our first TV. It was round, and I walked in, and I said to my father, "I'm rooting for this team." He said, "No, you're not. You're rooting for the other team," and that was the Yankees. That did. Ever since then, I don't like the Yankees, but the Yankees won that World Series 5-1 or something like that, or whatever, and. You know, in some of the games, what we used to do is have LC board and coupons, and I don't know how many you needed, but whatever it is, that and 50 cents got you into the ball game. And then when you got into the ball game, if it wasn't crowded, you'd stir around and try and find the better seat. The interesting thing was, which is a big deal for many of us, is we saw Jackie Robinson's his first games, and he was the first player of color at that time, and he was a hell of a ball player. And you know, he went down to the minors first, and they were pretty concerned about it. But he was really very kept his mouth shut, and he didn't go back and forth and argue too much. So, Jeff, would you had it? Okay. All right, so the background of baseball. There was clearly anti-Semitism toward Jews and Jewish players. And that was a big issue at the time. Henry Ford, 1920, goes back a ways, wrote, "If fans wish to know the trouble," this doesn't quite go right, but if fans wish to know the trouble with American baseball, they have 2 words: too many Jews. So, and the stereotype of Jews were non-athletic and in addition to anti-Semitic. Now, there was a movie, Jews in Baseball, which we talked about during the pandemic, and it's a really good movie, and it describes Jewish ball players in each decade from 1860 forward. And it's the main thing about that dealt with is overcoming stereotypes. And, you know, the bigotry was a big deal during those times. And bigotry, you may disagree, but against Jews has faded a great deal. It's not still there, but, and so the movie story of one marginalized, I'm going to read this, finding their way to American mainstream often offers lessons for a country that continued to grapple with its ideal where talent should overcome prejudice. And that's really the guts of what I wanted to talk about. Now, there are now 8 Jewish, in Major League Baseball generally, there are 8 Jews, that's the way it works, and there are eight Jews this is last season, in Major League Baseball. And that's more or less the way it was. It ranges from Bregman, who's playing for Houston, who was a really good player. He came up in Albuquerque, and Ray's sister put me on to him. I remember that. And there's Freed in Atlanta, and so on. And there are 8 of them, including one that I was stunned when I heard he was Jewish. His name was Rowdy Talese. Go figure. I don't know where, and he plays for Milwaukee. Now, there's some all-time Jew. I'm going to go forward here. This came out of the Jewish News of North Carolina. It's a lineup, and it's Hank Greenberg, who was very, he's a wonderful player, and he as a Jew, he didn't play games on Rosh Hashanah and things like that. He was the first baseman, and Bregman's the shortstop, Ian Kinsler's the second base, and then the third base is Al Rosen. Outfield is Sean Green and Ryan Braun, and Sid Gordon, and Johnny Bench is a catcher, but he's not Jewish. And then there's Sandy Koufax. So that's basically what I wanted to go through. There's also a JewishBaseballPlayer.com. It's online, and it's kind of very interesting, and it's got all the pictures of the Jewish players and so on and so forth. So, are there any questions or comments? Or yes?
In Great Gatsby, there's a character who is, I think it is Maya Wolfsheim, and I don't know what the original was, but obviously a Jewish character, and he was supposed to have been behind the Black Sox scandal of 1990.
Okay.
My question is, did Jews really do that? And was it Jewish gangsters or something?
There were some. I don't know the detail, but there were some involved in that. So.
There was Rothstein or Roth? I cannot remember. Arnold Rothstein was it. There was, I think it was Rothstein, and he was regarded, he was mixed up in some way, but I don't remember.
Well, I mean, there were Jewish gangsters. I mean, I went to high school, with a guy whose father was the banker for the mob, So, all right. Shabbat shalom.
I should have asked you a question before you said that.
I'm not saying that.
Let's go back up.
So I want to say, my question to you is, I think about things from, look, I was born in 1980, so there are a lot of things about what I consider the old days that aren't necessarily the old days to everybody, but I think about the golden age of America and Americana, and some of the things that we think of as being so quintessentially American. Things that were from the World War II era, the immediate post-war era, comic books, and somewhere in all of that too is baseball.
Oh,
and I want to ask, comic books and Western TV shows and all of this kind of stuff. What do you think? Let's say Dafka baseball. What would you think if I asked why baseball? What is the attraction for Jews to baseball, as to so many of those other things as well that we think of as being so quintessentially American? I just want to offer that as a question.
Yeah, I think baseball was a sport, and it just hung on, And Jews were not the only people who like baseball. And when you know that there's in Major League Baseball there are only 8 Jewish people playing, and I think it just hung on, and people really like the sport.
Okay.
I kind of think of it in terms that it was more of in some ways as much as it was
A little louder.
rural game, it was also an urban game because
Yes.
you had a lot of immigrant populations that would play in the city and play stickball and try to emulate the players that were playing professionally.
That's exactly right.
Some of them ended up becoming exceptionally good athletes.
Yeah, I mean that's absolutely right. In the urban areas, that's where it caught on. As a matter of fact, the building we lived in, there was at the back of the building, there was a long walk down there, and it was like 180 feet, and we all went out and played stickball. And if the ball went over the fence, you had to go get the ball.
We played stickball in the street.
Yeah? Oh, yeah, we did too, yeah. So.
Did you collect trading cards for baseball?
I did not. A lot of, he passed away, but I had a friend who had a lot of them. And he sold them, and I think he walked away with $15,000 or $20,000. And some of them are very,
Ask my dad about the time his mother gave away his baseball cards, including a Babe Ruth rookie card.
Oh.
Yeah. She was not his favorite person for a while.
Well, they're worth a fortune right now. Yes.
Was a recent Jewish baseball player with a Cincinnati connection. Was his name Euclid?
Yes. Yes, Kevin Euclid. Yep.
And going back a lot, and this shows my incomplete connection to the game.
That's okay.
One of the expressions of anti-Semitism directed at Hank Greenberg is that pitchers wouldn't give him honest pitches because they didn't want him to break the Babe's home run record.
Yeah,
So what happened in the end? He didn't, did he?
I don't think so.
I think
No, because Maris broke it, and that was in the 70s.
yeah.
So, yeah. Anything else?
Who's your favorite team now?
Say that again?
Who's your favorite team?
I have to say the Reds.
Reds.
How can I not say the Reds?
Why?
I'm not, when the Dodgers moved pretty quickly, I was not rooting for the Dodgers, and I was still on the East Coast, so I was rooting for the Mets. And it was very costly for me because in 1969, I was in graduate school, and I said, they win the World Series, I'm going to bring booze for everybody. Well, they won the World Series. So anyway. Anything else? Okay, thank you for listening.
Thank you, Herb. Thank you very much. I can announce, I know our next speakers, next month, Marty Cohen is going to be speaking on Jews and physics, I think. Or no, Judaism and physics, that's what. And science. Not physics, right, science. And then we have got Zach Lempert-Drasnin, who's going to be here in June on Erev Shavuot to talk to us, I believe, about Ish and some of their current doings as our up-and-coming local Jewish arts organization. So look forward to both of those. Thank you again, Herb. Thank you very much. And please, everyone, join us for a little Anik Shabbos out in the lobby. Shabbat Shalom.